Hi, I'm Rain. This is my YouTube channel. If you're new here, subscribe. In this video, I'm going to show you how I made these Minecraft charms and how you can too. I started by building each model's silhouette out of cubes. I did this by copy and pasting large chunks as well as individual cubes. Once I finished the silhouette, I grouped together the outside edges, each individual cube, merged them together and then widened it to give an extra 3D effect. I also shrunk down the edges of some of the interior cubes. Now, I scaled the model of the sword down according to the size of the previous two models that I've already made. After this, I moved them up, copied them, and then add a pinhole for the charm itself. Now this is going to be for either a necklace or a keyring, something along the lines of that, so the hole's got to be sized appropriately, something to consider if you're doing this yourself. Now I set my models to print, 190 degrees on the nozzle, 40 degrees on the build plate, and I'm printing this in white PLA. Here I have my three models right off the build plate. Now, first things first, removing the support material. Just be careful not to break the model when you're doing this. Now, to get at some of the more tricky support material, I'm using an X-Acto knife and just picking away at it until it all comes apart. Once that's done on all three models, it should look like this. Now, for a light sand on each of the models, this will just help the paint stick and you'll end up with a better finish at the end. Now, some parts might need a little file down for any imperfections when printing, or just to make sure the model itself is smooth. Now, time for paint. To start, I'm going to paint the outside edge of the diamond sword. To do this, I'm going to use a light turquoise colour. After this, I paint the inside of the sword light blue, and once it's dry, I realised the light turquoise isn't the right colour. It's not quite what I thought it would be, so I decided to go with a darker blue instead. This isn't 100% accurate, but I prefer it overall, and I think it matches much nicer with the lighter blue as well. Next, a few more details like painting in the pommel and the handle. Once this is done, leave it to dry and we'll move on from there. Next up, the diamond charm. Once again, I'm painting in the outside of the model first. This is to give a really strong base colour, but as you can see, I'm using that turquoise again. Once again, I'm not happy with it, so I'm going back with the darker colour once I've painted in the lighter blue. If I was to do this again, I'd just start with the darker blue, but I thought I'd give it a go, see how it turned out. I wasn't happy, so I went back and covered it with the dark blue. Next, I'm painting in some white highlights into the recesses of this diamond charm. I also add an extra pixel of white highlight onto the middle of the diamond. This is just to sort of sell the design itself, and it also brings out the 3D effect just that little bit more. Next, I'm just cleaning up the edges, any overspill of paint or where I've missed the spot. I'm just making sure I get every little bit, making sure that every detail is perfect. Next up, the water bucket. My personal favourite item in Minecraft. And for this one we're going to do something slightly different. Now to start, we're going to coat the entire model in black paint. Nice solid coat. This is to prime the majority of the model and also coat the edges, which will eventually be black anyway. Next, I'm starting with a dark blue. This is the same dark blue I used on both the other models, but against the black it does look bright enough anyway, I think. Now I'm just painting in the water itself, and I'm making sure to lay this paint on thick, and this will make the blue really bold and pop, and that's the effect we're going for. Not forgetting the extra details, the water splash itself, the droplets. Now it's not the end of the world if the paint overspills here, as we will cover that up later anyway, so yeah. Next up, I'm using a metallic silver paint to paint the bucket. I could have used grey, but I thought I'd want this model to be extra shiny, and yeah, I'm really pleased with how this turned out. You will need to use multiple coats of this paint as it is quite thin, but this is why we used black on the whole model previously, because it gives a nice solid background for this silver to be quite reflective of. But yeah, you definitely need multiple coats with this, but once you do that it will bring out a really nice shine. Now, a really easy way of cleaning up the edges of this model is just take a black permanent marker and draw on the edges where you've overspilled paint. This was really useful because, as I said, I had to go in with multiple coats of the silver paint, and occasionally you do knock the black itself, so this was helpful, and you don't notice the difference once it's painted. So yeah, little tip there. Next up, a few white highlights. This really brings all the colours together and gives a nice contrast against the black edges. Before we move on, coat a crystal clear spray paint. This seals the models and adds a nice shine. Now I'm gonna tie these up and make them into necklaces. For this I use a bit of nylon cord. For a necklace you'll need roughly 2 1/4 ruler lengths. Then you want to fold the cord in half. You want to push the folded half through the model and then the loose ends through that loop. You want to pull that tight and then tie off the ends. This creates a strong loop and a neat look. And there we have it, 3 Minecraft charms. Now these models are very versatile, and just using the same base models I created 3 other designs, 1 classic, call it, and 2 custom. I'm very happy with how these turned out. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to my channel.